Hello and welcome to another one of these ADD videos. Today we're going to be looking at an intermediate example of balancing a chemical equation. As you can see, the problem is given to us in words and we're supposed to come up with a chemical equation in unbalanced form. So the first thing we have is calcium chloride. So calcium and then chloride. If you remember your rules, you should recognize this as an ionic compound. The calcium is an alkali earth metal in group 2, and then chlorine is a halogen. So being in group 2, it's got a +2 charge, and being in group 7, it's got a -1 charge, and they end up switching over. So you have calcium chloride with a 2, you write down aqueous. So the next thing we have is potassium phosphate. Now notice it says phosphate and not phosphide. So phosphate is referring to the polyatomic ion. And it has a charge of -3. Potassium is an alkali metal. It's in group 1, right next to calcium. So it has a charge of +1. And then again, because it's ionic, we switch it across like that. So these are the two reactants. And when we let them react, we get a solid of calcium phosphate. So it's going to be calcium PO3. But the +2 of the calcium now becomes a subscript for the +2 becomes the subscript for the phosphate polyatomic ion. And then the -3 that was a charge for the phosphate becomes a subscript for the calcium. And that's solid. And then we write plus the final thing, which is potassium chloride. Potassium chloride is another ionic compound, metal nonmetal, so it's going to be KCl, and we write down aqueous. Alright, so there's step 1, unbalanced equation. Let's zoom out a little bit so we can see it better. So now we got to do all the elements that are not hydrogen or oxygen. So I see a calcium. So right away, let's take care of that calcium. Let's put a 3 right there for the calcium. And then potassium looks like it needs a 3 as well. And then chlorine has 6 here. And 3 there. So we need to change that to a 6 to get the chlorines to match up, which then means we need to change this coefficient from a 1 to a 2 to make the potassiums match up. So let's check all our elements. Calcium's 3, chlorine is 6, chlorine 3 times 2 is 6, potassium is 6, potassium is 6. Good, we're good to go. Polyatomic ions, here we have 2 phosphate groups, 2 phosphate groups. I think we did it. I think we're balanced. There's no free elements, and then there's no hydrogen or oxygen that's not part of a polyatomic ion, so we're good to go. And now it's balanced. Alright? So you see how I just go through and just try to make them all match up. First, it's the non-hydrogen or oxygen elements, then it's the polyatomic ions. Then if there was, for instance, a copper or zinc by itself, we take care of that. Then the hydrogens and the oxygens. Alright, so practice, practice, practice. I hope I cleared up any confusion you might have. Check out the advanced video. Thank you and have a nice day.